Well, hey everyone, Jay Whitner here with Kickstarter Coaching and our TV show Crowdfunding Coverage. If you haven't seen our show, we do a quick 10 to 15 minute review of what happened in crowdfunding during the month. So let's talk about March. There was interesting news on both Indiegogo and Kickstarter in March. There were 10 big campaigns that were $340,000 or more during the month. The big campaigns totaled about $10 million. The largest was about a cool set of wireless headphones called the Dash that we'll talk about later on in the program. First, our news. Big news from Kickstarter. They had a big milestone. They hit $1 billion worth of pledges. It took them less than 5 years to reach the $1 billion figure, and that is composed of almost 6 million different people have backed Kickstarter projects already. So congratulations to Kickstarter. In other news, a site called Circle Up did some fundraising for themselves this time. They raised $14 million of venture capital. So congratulations to the people at Circle Up. This follows the trend we've been seeing recently. A month or two back, Indiegogo got a large amount of venture capital as well. And in a somewhat controversial move, one of the Kickstarter projects was sold out for a very large amount of money. This was the Oculus device. They had a successful Kickstarter campaign back in 2012 that was quite successful. They raised over $2 million. But that pales compared to the $2 billion that they were just purchased for. So this is another example of crowdfunding as a step along the way in the capitalization of companies as they grow and prosper. So congratulations to the people at Oculus, and go out there and get some cool yachts and put some money back in the economy. We have another aspect of crowdfunding that's equity crowdfunding for the wealthy, which is out there right now. And there's a new site called Junction that focuses on movie crowdfunding. So what they're doing is they have movies that already have solid backing, have their funding in place, and they're looking for augmentation funding to enhance things. We've got some movie stars involved in there, and they're out of San Francisco. So they're getting some play in the news. Kickstarter has had a new campaign that's in process now. It's not complete, but this is by Neil Young, and it's for higher quality music, for people that are into the quality of the music, the musical quality provided by smartphones and earbuds and so forth is not really what they're looking for. So this is a new hardware that will allow people to hear music as it was meant to be heard with the maximum dynamic range and so forth. They've raised over $5 million already, one of the biggest crowdfunding campaigns so far, and they still have, I think, about 10 days left in their campaign. So congratulations to Neil Young and the people with the Pono Player. We'll see how that goes, whether or not that ends up having traction. And also in the media this month was these wireless headphones that we'll talk about later in the program. But they're very, very cool. They raised over $3 million on Kickstarter in March. And they got the press that goes along with raising $3 million. So we'll talk about them more a little bit later. So the big 8 campaigns that we'll talk about this month. The range of the campaigns that we selected, these top 8, range from about $360,000 to about $3.5 million. They all vastly surpassed the goals that they had set. One of the goals was only $10,000, and they raised a whole lot more than that, certainly. The length of the videos that were involved, 2 minutes to 4.7 minutes long. The average in this set was 3.5 minutes. I continue to feel like 2 to 3 minutes is the sweet spot, so this turned out to be a little bit longer than that. People were pretty good on their updates. Everybody had at least a half dozen updates during their campaigns. And the campaign length was a little bit longer than we've been seeing recently, an average length of 41 days for these big campaigns. The reward levels, there was a low of 9, a high of 31, with an average of 15. Be careful on your reward levels. Sounds good when you're putting the campaign together and you actually have to deliver the rewards. It's more difficult, so try and control yourselves. All of these big campaigns were the first campaigns of each of the people behind them, each of the creators. And the average creator had only backed 2 campaigns, which is less than we've been seeing typically. So the campaigns themselves. First campaign is for a movie production. These people have a big background in making movies on YouTube, not movies, I guess shorts, things like that on YouTube. So this is a full-blown movie. They raised about $360,000. And some of the interesting things about their campaign were they had a chart that they are showing where the money is going to go from their campaign, which is a little bit of a trendy thing. People are doing that more now. They had a lot of supplemental videos explaining them, their team, what they do. And when they hit their goal, they had a big live stream that day to sort of celebrate and talk with the backers and have fun, which made their campaign a little bit different. The next campaign is Period Panties, running on Kickstarter. This is called a fashion campaign, but I would think of it as more sort of a novelty campaign. But some of the interesting aspects of this campaign were how they handled shipping costs. Normally have a blanket free shipping included for domestic shipments, and then there's an add-on of a certain amount for all international shipments. They did it a little bit differently. They had a separate amount for shipments to Canada and Mexico, because it costs less to ship there from the U.S. So they sort of had an intermediate thing between domestic and the full international amount for shipments to go to Canada and Mexico. They're using BackerKit, which we haven't talked about too much in our program, but it's a tool designed to help the creators handle all the fulfillment tasks after the campaign is concluded. And they did have a GIF inside one of their updates, which I wasn't sure that I'd seen that before. So some interesting things about that campaign. Next, we have a campaign called Atlas. This is a fitness thing that is a wearable. It's like a watch-style wearable. Some interesting things about their campaign, which it was on Indiegogo, I should mention. Did very well, raised over $600,000. And some of the unique aspects here is they had a reward that they gave out for people that did a lot of referrals. There's a link system on Indiegogo that they can track where the referrals come from. So if you did, I think it was 3 referrals, you would get, I think it was a shirt. Other interesting things they had were a veterans discount. Thought that was nice. I don't think I'd seen that one before with any of the companies. So veterans get a price break on their Atlas fitness device. And these guys had a GIF as their main image. So as you're looking at like all the sort of the tiles, what I call them, on the Indiegogo page, all the campaigns, their device was moving and eye-catching on that page, which seems like it would drive more traffic. People would be attracted to it. Anyway, all those things seem to work out. They brought in over $600,000. The next campaign is a device that you use with your car. If you've ever had a car that the the check engine light came on and you really didn't know what in the world it meant, and you don't know if it's going to be a $100 item or a $1,000 item, well, this thing plugs into the car and it hooks into your smartphone, and you can tell like the electronic status of your computer in the car and what's going on with your car. So some interesting things on their campaign is they did have a button to buy their device after the campaign to link through to another purchase opportunity. They had a stretch goal in their campaign that was tied to the number of shares. So if people shared the campaign enough, then they would do another benefit to the product. Hadn't seen that before. And they did something interesting on their early bird pricing for their product, which you can look into the campaign to see more details about that. But the idea here is to get people involved early in your campaign to do things. And there's different ways you can do these early bird pricing and handle that. The next one is a game. And this is the sort of the collector's version of a game. So the game had already been released. This is a new, fancier version that has more stuff in it and more involved. So some of the neat things they did with their game is the game comes with a CD. You can have like background music while you play the game. It's like tied into the game itself. which I don't believe I'd seen that before. I thought that was a nice idea. In one part of their campaign, they had an embedded music player right there in their main campaign page. You just click on it and play music if you wish. And they also had a shipping rate chart. So instead of like trying to figure out what the average shipping price is going to be for international shipping, they had a chart showing like lots and lots of different countries, on 50, 75 countries, and what the price was for each country. So then you just add the appropriate shipping price to your campaign donation. So more precision on the shipping rates as opposed to having a blanket amount regardless of what country they happen to be in. The next campaign is for one of these flying drones. This has been a fairly popular item on Kickstarter, these flying robots. This one brought in almost $1 million, which will give you a clue there's a lot of interest here. But they had some neat things aside from the product itself in their campaign. They did have a section showing media coverage of their product. And this is something that a lot of the campaigns are doing. They do like little icons of all the different news media that they sort of list those out so you can get a sense of the amount of coverage they're getting. There was also a link to their online store, so you can buy the drone now if you wish. And they had something that you don't see quite so often is links to TV news coverage of their device. So you could click and watch what CNN had to say about them or whoever covered their product. The next one was really kind of neat. And not that they're all neat, I guess, but the mini museum was a cool idea. Here's this guy who's been collecting rare and unique items for 35 years. So what he did for his campaign is he took tiny, tiny pieces of these very rare items and put them in like a clear lucite type of a substance and made little sort of blocks that you could see all these little items inside your block. They're really rare things. Tiny pieces of like foil from the Apollo 11 mission, pieces of like a dinosaur egg that was fossilized or something, things like that. So he did hugely well, over $1 million with his campaign. And some of the neat things or unique things about what he did is on his campaign, when you open up his campaign page, his video started playing automatically as opposed to having to click on it. Normally when you go to a Kickstarter page, you have to click to have the video play. His was automatic. His items were all handcrafted. He's making these by hand. It's a limited edition thing. They're all numbered and so forth. And something you hardly ever see. I don't know that I've ever seen this on Kickstarter before. He sold out. He had like a certain amount of material, and he sold out all of the different mini museums you could have. There were 3 sizes. He sold out everything. So congratulations to him. Really cool idea. And that's just fantastic, $1 million. And our last item of our show this week, the biggest item for March, was these really neat wireless headphones. So you've all seen the people with Bluetooth on their ear for their phone and stuff. Well, this is for both ears. It's all wireless. So you can hear music through your phone. But it does so many different things. There's a built-in music player in these little earplugs themselves, so you can hear music whether you have your phone or not. And they track your heart rate and how far you run and all these kinds of things. They also using vibrations inside your ear. You can use it to speak through your cell phone as well. So I urge you to take a look at this campaign. I can't do it justice in the amount of time I have to spend here. But they had the media icons for media coverage about their particular campaign. They used stretch goals, and they had various early bird pricing for different criteria. So that's our show for March of 2014. Hope that you enjoyed it. Check back with us in about a month, and we'll talk about what happened in April. Take care.